from our back meeting. So I'll be with you in a second. Shut my phone off. Okay. Go away. All right. She's gone. He's gone. All right. Wait a second. This might. Okay, finally, I will call to order our city council meeting for today, August 13th. Get that far. And I have to report from closed session, no reportable action. We have adjourned closed session, but we'll open closed session at the end of our regular meeting. And so that closed session is continued until after this meeting. And then I guess I report out after that again, right? Okay, so that's how we'll do that. Yes, we did that. All right, let's do a flag salute. How about Councilmember Schaefer leading us in the
course.
salute?
Please follow me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Middleton,
Present.
Councilmember Nelson,
Present.
Councilmember Schaefer,
Present.
Vice Mayor Lopez Taft,
Here.
and Mayor Karpinski Costa.
Present. Next item, please.
This meeting of the Citrus Heights City Council is live and recorded with closed captioning. It is cablecast on Metro Cable Channel 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast and DirecTV Universe cable systems. It is also live streamed at citrusheights.net. Tonight's meeting replays Monday, August 18th at 9 a.m. on Metro Cable Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed on the city's YouTube channel.
Next item, please.
Approval of agenda.
Move approval.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. Next item, please.
Next item is presentation number 4, presentation by the Citrus Heights Police Department on the 4th of July fireworks update.
Long awaited. Hi, Chief.
This is fine. Is that better? All right. Well, good evening, Mayor, members of council. Alex Turcott, your chief of police. I'm here to give an update about our illegal fireworks operation for this last year. Start us off with a little history. As you're all well aware, this item of illegal fireworks is a significant concern not only for the community, but for our council and for our entire city team. I'm happy to just cover a little bit of the history over the last year. We had some municipal code updates where we were able to increase some of the accountability measures for illegal firework deployment, bringing the violations up to $1,000 for each violation and moving it to a per device. So for each illegal firework that is expended, each one is its own violation. As far as community outreach, a lot of social media education. We contacted homes that were in previous violation of our ordinance to give them a warning about the new accountability measures that were in place and to ask for their compliance to prevent this dangerous activity. As far as enforcement tools, new this year, we added a new capability with our drones where they could actually issue citations based on observations from the air, along with a code enforcement call center specifically dedicated to fireworks, so that if a firework call came into dispatch, we could take that off of dispatch's plate and the code enforcement person could research more about it and get more timely information specific to fireworks violations. And then we've had this deployed already, but our C-Click Fix option to be able to report online was also used this year, as well as our citizen attestation where community members could basically effect a citizen's arrest on a fireworks violation as well. Just to give everyone kind of an example, this is a drone's eye view of what Citrus Heights looked like on the 4th of July. And as you can see, we've had some questions on how can the drone see what's happening and things. As you can see on this video, it's pretty clear and not very hard to articulate exactly where these things are coming from with the technology that's given there. Oh, we don't see it. Okay. Some operational highlights. Really, this is such a major concern for the community that really the whole department's involved in this full court press. In previous iterations of enforcement, which really a lot of the enforcement has fallen onto patrol folks on the ground trying to get to these locations while managing other calls for service. Part of the enhancements that were put together today or this year was to leverage some of our non-field patrol folks to be able to issue violations. Code enforcement was a huge player in that this year. They acted not only as spotters with our UAS team, where they can spot the violation over the pilot's viewpoint there and actually issue the citation based on those violations. They also manned the call center that we talked about, along with some assistance from our animal control folks, and really did a great job adding to that efficacy. Our UAS pilots, of course, they have had to undergo specific training on how to manipulate these new airframes and be able to get quality evidence, and also to navigate a area that's a little bit harder to navigate during 4th of July with explosions and all the paraphernalia that's come through that, but they did an excellent job. Our records unit, with the influx of the administrative citations, created a database for tracking, but also tried to enhance some of the due process with this issue. They added a couple layers where folks could get their initial case reviewed for free, so that they wouldn't have to put up a fine to make their case. That was a good part there, because even though we have great evidence on a lot of these things, you can still make mistakes. So we were able to see, some addresses were wrong, or hear people's points of view on who actually is to blame and issue the citation to the proper authority. So that worked out very well. And then also, there's no intent here to, make money on this program, but the fines are stiff enough that we were trying to add some reasonableness there as well. So our records unit worked with our violation vendor to develop payment plans for folks so that they can spread out their payments over a period of time or make different deals so that we can limit the impact of the penalty at the same point. I would like to say that our main effort here was spearheaded under Commander Wells' division, his operations division. Our incident commander was Lieutenant Ken Lewis, who's back there in the back. Ken right now knows everything you could possibly know about illegal fireworks in this town and has heard every excuse in the book for the folks that have been coming in to argue their cases in front of him. So really great job by staff. Just an overview of our statistics. You can see kind of a 3-year trend line on our fireworks calls for service. Little higher this year. That also includes our proactivity, though, so the better we are out there of detecting, you're going to see some additional calls for service on that. 4th of July is a busy night anyway, and you can see 428 calls in that night, but about 52% of our overall call for service burden was related to fireworks, so definitely a significant issue. On the right-hand side here, you can see, as I spoke to earlier, each device is its own separate violation. So you'll see 49 citations were issued. That's 49 separate locations. But in those violations were 350 separate violations for aerial fireworks that were unlawful. That resulted in fines imposed of approximately $220,000. So far, we've collected about $10,800 of that. Some of the citations are working through their due process for their admin hearings that will be coming up here shortly. And then some we're still waiting to have contact with some of the property owners as well. And then you can see our UIS team themselves issued 25 of those overall citations. The rest were issued by on view from officers and some through attestation. And our C-Click Fix reports were 61 for the evening. So with that, that's a high-level overview, but I'm happy to entertain any questions that you may have.
Any questions? Questions? What's the question? You have a question?
I don't have any questions, I want to comment.
I have a question. So
Yes, ma'am.
our fines and our administrative fines match the surrounding jurisdictions? We're not any
Yes.
worse or any better than the
They're,
rest? Which is
they're,
almost-
they're within the realm of normalcy within the region, yeah.
Okay. Competitive, is that what you call it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't exactly match every jurisdiction, but they're right in the line with most of them. Every jurisdiction's suffering the same issue, and I think a lot of them are trying to increase accountability measures. To that point, our particular mix of enforcement was seen as pretty successful. We've actually had calls from agencies all the way as far as Southern California trying to figure out how they can enhance their measures with UAS. And I know even our neighbors in Roseville were going to borrow some of what we did this year for their jurisdiction next year.
So when someone called C-Click Fix, the code enforcement people went out or officers went out to that location? Is that how C-Click Fix worked? How did?
So it depends. So as the calls came in, basically they would triage the calls. Like 'cause some folks will call in and say, I hear a firework in the area, right? They would triage. If they look like someone says, hey, I can see somebody lighting off fireworks, they give them an immediate call back, try to get details. Either one of our officers assigned on the ground or one of the airships, the UAS, I guess, the drone, one of those would respond to that area and try to gather evidence if a violation was occurring. And they were actually very successful in getting there pretty timely, so.
And does the drone have like a GPS locator so it knows the address of where?
Yeah, it's really, the technology's come a very long way. So there's a map layer right over the top of it. So in some of the ones, I mean, there's a lot going off at once and they're trying to go as fast as they can. On some of the ones, like a duplex might have one address and another address. And so in the light of day, they were able to correct some of those citations with some of those folks. But all in all, pretty easy for the drones to see, as you can see in the video. Some of those images you're seeing of folks on the block were taken from almost a half a mile away. So pretty good technology.
Are they our drones or did we borrow them?
They're ours, yeah.
Oh, good, good. Okay, you want to comment?
Yes, I would just wanted to convey that, that in my neighborhood, and I have had my neighbors say that it's quieter this year, and I think the word is kind of getting out. There's certainly still some folks that have some serious complaints about that it's still kind of out of control, but I can say that I feel that there's some progress being made. And I want you to know, your whole team to know, that I greatly appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate that, sir. And like we've all spoken before, the goal here is to stop it from happening in the first place. And our hope is now that some folks are taking it serious. Lieutenant Lewis has some very fun anecdotes about some people who thought they could get away from the system, even some with some attorneys where they watch the video and go, yeah, okay, that was me, right? And so we're hoping that that education can deter it from happening in the future, and also the word of mouth. I mean, these aren't cheap penalties, and hopefully people will tell their friends and seek safe and sane, or not at all, right? Thank you, sir.
Any other comments?
Yes, Mayor. It's clear your team did a phenomenal job. Thank you so much. And I know the word was put out far and wide, so anybody who got caught and said, I didn't know, it's probably a slim chance that they didn't see it or hear about it somewhere. So I'm looking forward to next year and seeing how these numbers change even more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief.
Madam Mayor, can I just make a comment, please?
Yes.
I just want to really acknowledge and thank Chief Turkoffer's leadership on this and his team. I mean, Commander Wells, Lieutenant Lewis. We also have our Police Services Manager, Chella Cottrell here, and Police Communications Supervisor, Sarah Friedrich. Across the board, and our code enforcement team, I mean, there's phone calls coming in now about what did Citrus Heights do on fireworks? Wow, how do we replicate that plan? And there was no playbook. What it was a directive from council on let's get fireworks under control. Chief and I spent a lot of time talking about it. He went with his team, they put together a plan, executed the plan, demonstrated fantastic leadership, and I'm very grateful for what they accomplished here. When you see that slide with those big numbers on the fines, people read that, I'm sure they'll think twice before they light that fuse. But just very grateful for the leadership and the fantastic work that the team executed on. Chief was at the briefing on 4th of July. I joined him, and just really impressed with the way that rolled out. So thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
The community thanks you, too.
Appreciate that. Thank you, ma'am.
Next item, please.
Next item is public comment. Members of the audience, if you wish to address the council during the meeting, please fill out a speaker sheet and give it to myself, the city clerk. When you're called upon to speak, step forward to the podium and state your name for the record. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes each, and the mayor has the discretion to adjust the allotted time. There is a countdown display that will flash red at the end of the allotted time. Consistent with the Brown Act, the council is prohibited from engaging in a discussion or taking action on any item not appearing on the agenda. And I would just like to note, there is a handheld microphone. If you come up to the podium, please use the handheld, as our other microphone is not working. And I do have a speaker card, and I'll call up the first individual, Elise Splice.
Jana made me do this. I told her what had happened to me in Roseville, and she said, well, why don't you say something at the city council meeting? Because I want to say how much I appreciated what I heard that you guys had done and how much different it was. And I'm right on the border of Roseville. I mean, right there. To the left is Roseville, to the right, I mean, is Citrus Heights, to the right is Roseville. And it was so bad where I was that I could hardly go outside. And it started probably about, well, dusk, and went till I finally heard what sounded like they were doing at the fairgrounds, which I know they weren't, at about 12:30. And that was Roseville. And then to make it fair, I called up. I want to talk to the PIO in Roseville today, but of course he wasn't there. And the woman I talked to, she said, well, we're doing it. It sounded like they were doing the same things that the police were doing here, but I didn't get it on my side. And when I called, they said, well, we need an address. And I said, look up. You know, there's fireworks everywhere, because you can't tell where the address is just by, you know, listening. So, and I don't think they went around, but it does say that they had a few other things like you have, so we'll see what happens next year. But I really appreciated what I heard that you guys are doing, and I hope the other cities and counties and everybody will take after you. Thank you.
Thank you, Elise.
And that is all the speaker sheets. I do have one public comment to read, and this was received from Andrew Saunders, and he also submitted a flyer, which each of you have at your seat there. But his comments are, come out and celebrate with your community as we honor San Juan High School and the historic Lincoln Highway. We are commemorating this historic event in our school's journey with an inspiring program, including a review of the history of San Juan High School, the city of Citrus Heights, and the historic Lincoln Highway that it resides on, ending with a ceremonial unveiling of the newly installed signs out in front of the school. The current San Juan High School was built in 1915 on the historic Lincoln Highway route, which is Greenback Lane in Citrus Heights. And the school is now recognized as a historic point of interest on the Lincoln Highway Association interactive travel map at lincolnhighwayassoc.org/map. The speakers at the event are David Levies, the principal of San Juan High, Dick Cowan, Citrus Heights Historical Society, Gail Gaylord, curator management at the San Juan High School Alumni Legacy Room, Albert Fox, Citrus Heights Rotary Club, Joe Windmiller and Trey Pinzberger, Lincoln Highway Association of California, Gigi Rayford, director, founder of Citrus Heights 40 Arts District and Citrus Heights Arts Commission, Lane Gonick, representing Josh Hoover, California State Assembly, and the Citrus Heights Rotary Club, San Juan High School Alumni Association, and the Lincoln Highway Association of California look forward to sharing this memorable event with you. The newly unveiled Lincoln Highway signs are a tribute to the school and our community's past and are a beacon for our bright future. And that concludes his written comments.
Thank you. Any more?
No, that is it.
Next item then.
The next item is comments by council members and regional board updates.
It's been a long time since we've had a council meeting, so go for it. Councilmember Nelson.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Yes, it surely has been a very long time since we've been back in this room. I have quite a few things to list and some shout outs for upcoming events. So I'll move quickly. On the 10th of July, I had a regular STA meeting, the Sacramento Transportation Authority meeting. And then on July 16th, I attended a press conference at the State Capitol steps to talk about Senator Ashby's draft legislation of SB 802. A few other members of council were there along with me and the city manager. Then I attended a ribbon cutting put on by the Chamber of Commerce here for BizLink, a local networking group, and that was great. I couldn't stay for Councilmember Taft's talk, but hopefully she'll share about that. And then I had a subcommittee meeting for STA on August 4th. Most excitingly was National Night Out on August 5th. I had the great privilege of riding with Commander Wells and his therapy dog, or the department's therapy dog, Ellie. And I don't know if that was a rookie perk that I got that assignment, but I'm grateful for being able to ride around with them.
I get the dog next year.
Okay, we should rotate. I wanted to shout out Commander Wells in particular. He's just a very impressive person, and we are extremely blessed, I feel, to have him on the police department. So I was grateful for the time I could spend with him. And I'm looking forward to next year. That was such a cool event to see a lot of people come out and just excited to interact with the police. So that was my first time, and it went great. Next, we have some shout outs for the arts community. Citrus Heights Arts has an event or a showing. They're putting on a kind of a gallery showing in our city hall here. So they have submissions open right now for artists to show their work here in City Hall. And I believe those submissions are due this week. So if there's anybody out there that has a piece of art they'd like to show in a public space, then they can go to citrusheightsarts.org, I believe. Looking at Councilmember Middleton, thank you. And I've heard they're looking for sculpture in particular. So anybody out in the ceramics community that happens to be watching this, please submit your work. And then also another art event, Sac Open Studios is put on in Sacramento County. This is by the Verge Center for the Arts downtown. This event is across 2 weekends in September. And this is where artists can showcase their studios to the public. So otherwise, you know, they're just private spaces throughout the year. But over the weekends of September 13th and 14th, and September 20th and 21st, the public can go tour these studios all around the county. So that is put on by the Verge Center for the Arts, like I mentioned, and you can find more information on their website. I believe it's 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Each of those weekend days. And so they have a map that you can choose what studios you'd like to visit. And then Terra Madre is an event that I mentioned a while ago. That is, again, on September 26th through 28th. That's downtown in the convention center. It's free admission, and it's an international food event. We have, in Sacramento, we have the privilege of hosting this, America's version of this event. Normally, it's held in Italy. So I hope to see everybody out there. Lastly, a plug for myself and the Northwest area, Neighborhood 1. I am doing a town hall next Monday on the 18th at 6:30, so it'll take place of their normal meeting. And if anybody just wants to come out, share their thoughts with me, ask me questions, please join us there.
Thank you. Councilmember Schaefer.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Yes, it's been, it's hasn't been that busy, but it has been a long time since we've been here, so there's quite a few items on the list here. So I'm going to start out with, so our council meeting was on the 9th, so on the 10th, I had a great meeting with our county supervisor, Rich Desmond. I tried desperately to get a new machine shop placed here in Citrus Heights somewhere, to no avail. They wound up locating just outside of our city, on Auburn Boulevard in Rich Desmond's district. We visited with the machine shop owner there, and Rich was really great and we also met with the county economic development team. We really like to see these kinds of businesses where there's a big effort right now to reshore business that is being done in the Far East, and this is how we do it. We do it by bringing these young companies up and really supporting them and giving them an opportunity to do some really important work. So then on the 15th, I went to the Chamber Luncheon where Melissa Bastinelli was a speaker there. It's great, very informative. And then on the 16th, I was down to the Capitol with most all of our council, except for maybe Jane. I think Jane was on a cruise. And we were there to talk about SB 802. And that is a bill that was introduced by Angelique Ashby to create a joint powers authority to address homelessness. So more on that later. And then on the 28th, SAC-RT meeting. At that meeting, we talked about a safe parking area down off of Franklin and Cosumnes, which is outside of the city of Sacramento, but the city of Sacramento is going to be managing that safe parking area for the unhoused folks. They're going to put restrooms there. It's kind of a big park and ride. That's why it was talked about at the SAC-RT meeting, because SAC-RT actually owns the property there. I actually had to leave before the final vote on that. But we also discussed the surplus property. SAC-RT has all but moved out of there's a small maintenance facility, or actually the larger maintenance facility is down on 29th Street. So that group of buildings down there, I sit on the surplus property committee there, and that they're actively marketing for all of that area right there in Midtown. So, and then I had to leave there early to go to the mayor's, to talk about RT at the SOAR meeting, which is, I just really would encourage you, we just replaced all of well, not all of them, but it's planned to replace all of the light rail cars. They're made right here in town. They're made in Sacramento. They're beautiful. They're super comfortable. They're easy to access. Now, and when I'm going to take light rail to go downtown, I actually drive down Sunrise, park and ride down there, because it just takes too long to get down. There's like 39 stops on the 80 side, the 50 side. There's only takes 37 minutes here. It takes about 2 hours to get downtown. So anyway, so I certainly would encourage, and we're actually seeing an uptick in weekend ridership, which is really good to see. We still have a long way to go when it comes to bus ridership is up, but the RT ridership is still at pre-pandemic levels. And then on the 5th, I also had National Night Out. I had quite a few places to see, and unfortunately I didn't get to all of them because when I got to Crosswoods, and Lieutenant Sean Gualco did an amazing job with a pretty kind of hostile group over there. They had a whole myriad of issues they had questions about. So that's something I'm going to be working carefully on to try to get some of those issues resolved for them. Because certainly their big concern is fire prevention. They have had their fire insurance really significantly increased by about tenfold there. So it's, their HOA dues are, now have to go up again. They're gonna be over $700 a month, by the end of the year. It's super high, but that's because of their fire insurance. So, and then, so, but I did make it to Area 5. I made it to, there were a couple of stops we made in Area 5. It was really good to see everybody, nice to see everybody made it out. I did go to Area 7, 8, and 9 at the church there. Again, the turnout for National Night Out was fantastic, and I just want to do a shout out for Sergeant Dave Jones. He did a fantastic job organizing that. That was quite a whole group that we had to deploy around the city to get all these, all the National Night Out groups. So, and then on the 6th, I had the Citrus Heights Water District, the two-way well, that is it's a well that can pump both ways, so it can actually replenish the aquifer. Instead, most wells are just drawing it out. This can pull additional water and restore the aquifer for better storage. And then on the 7th, I had a SACOG luncheon where we talked about housing, and it's really, we're over a goal when it comes to single-family home building permits issued is way over what was expected, but where we are, and the state did do for infill attached homes, the state essentially lifted the any CEQA requirements, any environmental requirements. No longer, if it's infill, you no longer need any kind of environmental document, but that still is, we're seeing very below goal building permits pulled for attached housing. Then on the 11th, which is just a couple days ago, I had another RT board meeting, and so we do get a lot of public comment at the RT board meeting, and a lot of it is really constructive. It's there. So they're going to try something new with public comment. Since the board isn't permitted to have a discussion with the public commenter, what they're actually going to do, and the chair and the vice chair are going to get together, and some of those public comments are going to be, if it makes sense to do it, they're going to be agendized. So that person, if they brought a really good point they're going to be automatically agendized to talk about it for the next meeting. So I think I think it's a lofty goal that can get complicated. So I think I'm going to be very interested to see how that is going to work. And then my last item is just, unfortunately, I won't be able to make it to City Scoop on July the 20th. That's next Wednesday. But I hope you guys come out for that. It's such a great event. And it just slipped my mind. Where is it going to be this time?
Mesa Verde.
Mesa Verde High School. So I definitely would encourage everyone to go out for the ice cream social on the 20th. It's a fantastic event. I enjoy them, but unfortunately, my wife's having surgery that day and is out of town, so I won't be able to make that. But that's all I have. Thank you.
I'm tired just listening. Councilmember Middleton.
I'll keep it brief because we went to a lot of the same events, so I won't repeat that. But let's see, 7/21, we had the Cable Commission budget meeting, and we went over just how we're going to keep the Cable Commission running with JPEG fees. I'll try to make this really easy. Everybody doesn't use cable anymore. We've all gone to streaming services. That means that the money we get from cable companies doesn't come in as regularly, and that's what actually helps us to have our meetings on YouTube and to be cablecast and to have them with closed captioning. So we're trying to figure out a way to extend those funds and find different other revenues and avenues of funding to make sure we can keep that something that's available to our community. On 7/24, I had a Metro Air board meeting. Air quality, it affects everybody, and we're just trying to figure out better ways of how to implement all the new rules and regulations and laws that are coming down from the state. And, you know, we'll figure it out somehow or another. We got really smart people who have PhDs working on that board, so we'll get it done. I had a meeting about broadband on the 30th of July. Very interesting concept. We should be hearing a little bit more about that later. On the 11th, I had the Sacramento Valley Division Board meeting, and we are getting really excited. There's a lot of talk about the League of Cities Annual Conference. I can't remember if we picked Sacramento to be our place for the next couple years after this one, but
be nice.
yes, that would be really nice, right? But I think
Nice
that
if we had our hotel then.
we can dream. Oh, I almost forgot about National Night Out. Oh my gosh, guys. So San Juan Park, we had about 10 to 15 kids come out. It was really a lot of fun. I had all 7 of my bubble machines going, so it was a bubble tornado. It was really awesome. I had a great time. And not only did we get 1 Pokestop, we got 2 Pokestops. And somebody called a Charmander, a Squirtle, and a Pikachu, which was like, we heard a lot of screaming. I thought that, like, you know, some violence was happening, but no, the children were just very excited about catching imaginary animals. Yeah, that was the whole thing. To our pop team and Sergeant Jones, thank you so much for coming out. And we did have a little bit of incident that was handled by our team. They're always working. Even when they're out there having fun, eating pizza, they're always working and keeping our community safe. And so thank you for coming out for that. And if you haven't looked at the murals, folks, you got to get out there and see the murals. They are so amazing. I don't know how these artists are doing it, especially with, you know, triple digits, right? But they are passionate and they're working in our community, and it's just amazing to see what folks can do. I can't draw a stick figure, so I am easily impressed, but they're really talented folks. And if you do not know, tomorrow in our city, school starts. Please do not hit the children. Pay attention. Take your time. Get up 10 minutes earlier. Drink your coffee before you leave the house and make sure that you're paying attention. Fun fact, I learned something that I didn't know, which is that if you're going across a crosswalk and it's just 2 parallel lines, you have to yield and you can go pass on through. If there are lines going through the parallel lines, you have to wait for the pedestrian to cross from one sidewalk to the other. You can't go through, all right? Don't break the law. That's not a message for our police department to go out there and like track people down, but like just mind the safety rules, right, guys? We got kids out there who are using safe routes to school. They're walking. They're trying to start off the new school year, and we want to make sure everyone is as safe as possible. Follow the speed limits. They are 25 in school zones. Okay, yeah.
And a lot of times the kids aren't paying attention, so we have to.
Oh yeah, no, those kids. I don't know where they are, but they're not here with us. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Lopez Taft, what you up to?
All right, well, between being on planes, trains, automobiles, and a boat, I'm glad to be back here and not swimming with whales, but observing great activity in our city. I did participate in several meetings, even though I missed our last council meeting, so thank you for holding the fort down, everyone. I attended on the 24th my SAC library meeting, and they reported on the summer lunch program. So if you didn't know, this has been several years now that our Sacramento library system sponsors lunch throughout the summer. And you can drop in, you don't have to particularly register for it. You just drop in, enjoy lunch, and that happens throughout the summer. So they did their report to the board on the 24th. The other meeting that I went to the very next day on the 25th was actually a very, very interesting meeting, and it was the Leadership Forum on Sacramento's regionally coordinated framework and action plan to prevent and end homelessness, otherwise known as the RCHAP. It was called a leadership forum because they brought together elected leaders within programs that serve and do outreach to the homeless communities in the greater Sacramento region. And it was a conversation to say, are we on the right track? From the provider side, from the elected city leader side, from the people who have been homeless. Are we doing a good job? What's our report card? And there was robust conversation of, it's going well, but is housing the answer to solve or alleviate homelessness? And from the gathered leaders there, the answer was actually no. And the overwhelming cry of both from the service providers and Health and Human Services was, we could definitely do a better job with substance abuse, addressing substance abuse, alcohol abuse, and mental health issues. That is not a surprise to many of us sitting in this room. And so with that robust conversation documented and, the continued conversation, it's going to be very interesting in the next couple of years, because what these reports do is they roll up $2. How do we then execute a solution utilizing dollars more effectively to address the issue at hand? And so that was a great conversation to be a part of. That was on the 25th. On the 31st, I attended the Sunrise Marketplace Board. I'm in this era of having really, really great, robust conversations in the community, and this was no exception. We had a wonderful conversation about an ordinance we're proposing, and I think it's really great before you do anything to have a conversation. And I recognize that on Monday, there was also a conversation by way of follow-up. And so in Citrus Heights, I think the thing that is our gold, our important golden key in our community is that we have open and transparent discussions with our community members. We don't tell you what to do. We ask you, is this a good idea? And we take your good ideas and turn them into actionable steps. And so that meeting at the Sunrise Marketplace Board was another great example of us listening, simply listening. And that same day, I did attend the ribbon cutting, as Councilmember Nelson mentioned, at BizLink Alliance. Very well attended, nice networking organization, new to the community. They allowed me to speak on the nonprofit organization that I'm employed by. And I was able to share my story of how so many organizations in the community affect individuals, and you just never know how you're going to inspire a kid like me to do something and to be engaged in the community. And so that was my talk, framed around my personal story and why my particular organization is worthy of their volunteer efforts. On the 5th, I also participated in National Night Out. Shout out to Commander Fry, who put up with me the whole time, because I think, every party is a good party. I did not know that Commander Fry also likes a good party. And so thank you, Commander Fry, for keeping the music alive. And we had 3 wonderful stops. We had, our first stop was at Sprouts. Sprouts sponsored a location this year for the first time. And I really do commend that, because our partners in the community who are serving in retail spaces, it's so great for them to engage in this way. To be able to give back and say, hey, we're not only in this community because we're a grocery store. We're actually here because we like this community. And I will tell you that new general manager, Rebecca, is a fireball of energy, and I think she's going to continue to engage more. I did go to a couple of my usual stops, which I love. There is a 7-Eleven location, many of you know it, on Woodmore Oaks, and it is on the border of Citrus Heights and Orangevale, and they have a good party out there. Tom, who generally manages that location, was out there. Everybody was in full force. They had a live DJ. I think they had a live DJ last year, but this particular time was really, really good. And they engaged the high school students to run booths and games and serve food. And to me, that is the heart of National Night Out. Not only recognizing and making friends with our local law enforcement, but getting the community and our youth out to engage with each other and all the people in their neighborhood. You know, I am a Mr. Rogers neighborhood kind of kid, and I am all about figuring out who are the people in my neighborhood, and we have some wonderful people. And I also went to our Chasen Neighborhood Association. Listen, this is a class act with Chasen. They used to hold it in the park, and, you know, we've had enough 100-degree weather incidences where we really wanted to bring it indoors. Great idea. They used the facility really well, and I thought it was a wonderful transition to bring it indoors and to a cooler location, so thank you for that. I also participated in the opening or groundbreaking of the well for Citrus Heights Water District on the 6th, and I attended the Leadership Citrus Heights kickoff that will be happening with our Citrus Heights Chamber. So this is a shout out to our chamber for resurrecting this program, because wouldn't you want to know more about our Citrus Heights, how it works, how to get in touch with people you want to get in touch with. Let me tell you a short story about what I've been working through in my family recently. My mother had an incident where something wonky was happening with her water. And because I'm an elected official, I know when something happens with a utility, you call the utility company, and they fix it lickety-split. And my mom was at her wit's end. She called me, and I said, let me look it up for you. Within hours, she had someone look at her water issue, and it was resolved in 10 minutes. But this is a senior who you know, became frazzled by an issue, didn't know exactly who to call, but she called me, you know, as any good mother would, they would call their kids. In our city, we have just as fast a way to get in touch with who you need here. You know, we may not be your kids, but we're someone's kids and you can call us. You know, our city is really, really responsive in that way, and I hope that you realize that when you call our city, you will get, even if we're not the right place to call, we will be able to refer you to the right place to connect to. And with that, those are my comments. Thank you, Mayor.
You have a comment?
One, I have an apology. Sergeant Jones, I apologize. I got your title wrong, and I know how important titles are, so
What'd you call him? What'd you call him? Lieutenant?
I
Give
did.
him a promotion?
He's had one for a while. Yeah, so I apologize.
Well, I don't want to take up a lot of time because it's kind of passing. I've been out there, period. That's it. Okay, next item, please.
Next item is consent calendar. Items 5, approval of minutes. Item 6, quarterly treasurer's report. And item 7, designation of city representatives for the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the California Office of Emergency Services.
Move approval.
No, okay, no report on that, just staff report?
This
Okay.
consent.
Oh, it's on consent. I thought we passed it. I'm sorry. All right, so we had moved in second for consent calendar. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next item, please.
Next item is regular calendar, item number 8. The subject is ordinance amending Citrus Heights Municipal Code, Chapter 38, Fire Prevention and Protection, and amending Citrus Heights Municipal Code, Chapter 50, regarding nuisances related to shopping carts. And there are 2 ordinances for City Council's consideration to conduct the first reading, read by title only, and waive the full reading of an ordinance, amending Chapter 38 regarding firework prevention and protection, and amending Chapter 50 regarding nuisances shopping carts.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council, Lieutenant William Dunning, and with me tonight is Lieutenant Joseph Aguilar, both with the police department. We are here tonight to provide updates to our municipal codes regarding both shopping carts and our firework ordinances. I am here tonight to speak about our shopping cart ordinance, specifically Section 50905, which was adopted by council in November of 2022. The current language of the ordinance only defines the removal of the shopping cart and does not include the language for the mere possession of the shopping cart. With that, staff recommends amending Section 50905 to clarify that the mere possession of a shopping cart without the written consent of a business owner is a violation of this municipal code. Unless there are any questions from the council, staff has the following recommendations for council's consideration.
What's the penalty for being in possession of a shopping cart?
I was unable to find the penalty itself in the bail schedule earlier today, so I can report back on that.
How do we know if we want to penalize somebody for being in possession when we don't know what the penalty is?
I think overall, the reason for amending it would to continue our beautification efforts, as well as this tool is utilized by our code enforcement, our problem and policing team for our chronic nuisance.
Maybe the answer man is here.
Program.
If the microphone would cooperate. So while this is a municipal code, it's not handled as an administrative violation. We were able to, when we first started our beautification project, we were able to have our records team work with the court system. So they actually ingest this violation as a misdemeanor that can be dumbed down to an infraction or a fine. But that makes it onto the court's bail schedule, and that's why we don't have an exact number for you here today. Because when we charge for this violation, we actually charge for the misdemeanor section. The court treats it as an infraction, but the bail or community service or classes are given out in accordance with the bail schedule down at Sacramento County.
Okay. Okay, any questions or comments on this item?
I'd like to make a motion.
Make a motion.
Okay, so here we go. Let's see here. I move that to introduce for a first reading, read by title and waive full reading of ordinance number 2025, amending Citrus Heights Municipal Code, Chapter 50, nuances, Article 7, shopping carts, Section 50-905.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Councilmember Middleton. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
And at this time, I'll turn over to Lieutenant Joseph Aguilar, who will be covering the fireworks code updates.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council. I'm Lieutenant Joseph Aguilar from the Police Department, and I will be reviewing the changes in our fireworks ordinance. In April of 2025, the social host ordinance was amended to include street and/or sidewalks near a host's property and to increase penalties for offenders. After much enforcement this year and review of the ordinances, we've done some language cleanup for the public without altering the intent of the sections. This also allows us to remain consistent with our regional partners. Now, Section 38-69 references the sale of safe and sane fireworks. This section currently allows the sale of fireworks from 12 noon on June 28th to 11 p.m. on July 5th. We've proposed modification to allow sales beginning on June 28th and ending on July 4th. Specific hours for sale between those dates are 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Section 38-81 references the penalty for violation. Now, Section C added reference to social host for Section 38-67 and a $5,000 fine per device for third and subsequent offenses within 1 year of the second violation. This fine is consistent with the council's original direction, but was left out in error. Section G changed the violation type from a misdemeanor to an infraction. Section H has cleanup language to hold parents financially obligated for juvenile offenders. And Section J was updated to allow the city to utilize a designated payment collector for fines. And lastly, Sections D, N, and Q have been removed as they are duplicative to sections C and H. Now, after some review, we've received feedback referencing sections 38-69 for the sale of fireworks. And that feedback is the sale of safe and sane fireworks began at noon on June 28th, ending on July 4th at 9 p.m. And the specific hours for sale between those dates are 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So our recommendation now is the City Council has two options. Option one is the original staff report language, and option two is the feedback modification language. That is all I have.
Any questions? I have a question. So, now this ordinance also does, even though these are the changes and we don't see the full one in front of us, they have to shoot them off by a certain time too, right? You buy them and then you have to use them. And what's the cutoff? I can't remember the cutoff for when they have to stop.
I believe it was 11 p.m. at night.
11 p.m. on the 4th, is that right?
Yes.
So that's what our ordinance says, okay. Okay. So I have been a safe and sane fireworks vendor for 13 years. And I think option two suits our community better than option one because, first of all, the county starts at 12 noon on the 28th. That's the way TNT operates. You can't start before 12 noon. So I don't know why you'd want to expand that 3 hours to make it 9 a.m. on the 28th. That's what you have on page 1. So on this page, it's to be consistent with the way it's been is you start 28th at 12 noon. Now, what the change is really is to end at 9 p.m. the rest of the week. And so I support that for the reason is that any of your counterfeit bills tend to come between when it's dark, when they know you can't, even though you have, you can't use those little pens that go across the door, you can't use. So we have the lights and everything that shines through and do all that, but it's tough to see counterfeit bills when it's dark out. And also subject to more, thieves feel more safe when it's dark, so. And then a lot of the stands, they put their stuff away into a thing, and that takes time. And so I think that closing at 9 p.m. is reasonable. It's 12 hours of sale during the week, and I think that's reasonable. So I support option 2. Comments?
Well, I have a question with, what's in the, on the agenda here is option 1, option 2 isn't listed on the agenda. Is there a reason for that? It just says the first one, on the agenda itself is option 1, but there's no option 2 on the agenda itself.
Councilmember Schaefer, I could answer that. I think after the posting, we realized there's some things that could be modified, and there's no issue from a Brown Act perspective, transparency to modify it now, as long as it's addressed in your motion, and we will bring, this requires a second reading, so the second reading will have the amended language in it at that point, the next meeting.
The staff report has option 1, but the agenda has, it's just amendment.
Yeah.
Read the agenda.
Well, anybody else? I'm going to make a motion.
Make a motion.
Okay, I move that we adopt option 2, feedback modification language. City Council will move to introduce an amended for the first reading, read by title and waive the full reading of ordinance 2025, amending Citrus Heights Municipal Code, Chapter 38, Fire Prevention and Protection, Article 3, Fireworks, Sections 38-69 and 38-81.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Plus, I think county does close at 9 every night, the county of Sacramento.
Our next item is regular calendar, item number 9. The subject is potential annexation work plan. The recommendation is that the city council review the information provided in this report and presentation and provide direction to staff regarding whether to proceed with the proposed annexation work plan.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Casey Kempinar, your Community Development Director tonight. Tonight's proposal is to implement one of the council's directives at looking at annexation of a corner of the city, our corner just outside the city at Fair Oaks and Madison Avenue. Just a brief background, in 2022, the city council asked us to look at 5 different annexation areas, including this particular one. And ultimately, there was negative fiscal impacts with those 5, so it was determined to stop at that time. The subject annexation area resulted in about $5,000 to $16,000 annual negative fiscal impact. Largely, that was attributed to the condition of Madison Avenue and the need for it to be repaved. We have since learned, since that time, Madison Avenue is going to be repaved by the county in the next couple of years. So that changes the calculus that goes into the whether it's pencils or not. In May, the council directed us to take a closer look at the annexation of that corner, and that's why we're here tonight. Just a little bit about the area that's shown in red on the screen. It's about 5 acres with 5 individual parcels with 3 owners. You can see on the screen, there's a couple LLCs or limited partnerships, and then Ethan Conrad, Kenneth Miller. The zoning is comprised of limited commercial. There's 3 parcels, auto commercial with a former Ferrari building, and then RD20, the apartment complex on the north end. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about what the annexation process looks like here, but suffice to say, a significant portion of that involves the voters or the property owners of that area to move it forward. In order to gauge their level of interest, we suggest hosting a meeting with those owners to understand what their desires are, talk about our desires, and see where we land, and then report back to the council. The letter was included in your packet with the mayor's signature on it to consider sending out to these property owners to set up a meeting. So really, the main questions for tonight, the direction we're seeking is, do you want to continue with this work plan? And then the letter implies having one of this council's ad hoc committees participate in that meeting with the property owners. So if so, which committee, the Finance Committee or Quality Life Committee, are both great options. And so looking for your direction on how you'd like to proceed there. So with that, I'm available for any questions you may have.
So Casey, there's one of the units at the senior housing community that's up Fair Oaks Boulevard a little bit. We've talked about this before. That has a Fair Oaks address to it. Can we include this? How do we bring them into the fold? Because they're on our side of
They're in
Fair
the
Oaks
city
Boulevard.
already?
Sure,
No, they're not in the city. Well, it's a question of whether they're really in the city or not.
that particular senior housing project you're discussing is actually in the city limits, but the postmaster sets the zip codes. And in that instance, it's in the Fair Oaks zip code. We have tried to work with the postmaster in the past to get that resolved, and haven't been successful at this point, but it's certainly a conversation we can have, and it would be, if this moves forward, it'd be a good opportunity to have that conversation in tandem.
I'd like to get that resolved. Apparently, there's some
Sure.
issues with service that we have.
They're in
there.
the city, but they have a Fair Oaks zip code?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, the postmaster, their lines don't always match city lines, unfortunately. There's a couple of places in the city where that takes place.
So these parcels, if they were annexed in, would they keep their Fair Oaks address?
We would have to work that out with the postmaster if this moves forward.
Okay, any questions? Any questions? Well, I've been tagging as an alternate on the LAFCO board. I've been learning about the process. And so my understanding is that assuming that we get a positive response from the parcel owners, we would then go forward with a municipal services review. Is that your understanding, Ash?
That's correct.
And that no matter whether we want to ever, and then that you have to do that before you can do a sphere of influence. So, and then the next step would be doing a sphere of influence. And that would be the prelude to annexing anything, even if you wanted to do Roseville Point. So my suggestion is if we want to go forward, that we start the MSR review, MSR, because we're going to need it anyway before we can do any sphere of influence around our city. And at some point, it takes a while to get it done, in like a year. it takes a while. So I thought, do we want to engage in that step?
Madam Mayor,
While
it's
we're
great.
waiting for response from these other guys.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, great laying out the process. It does require municipal services review, sphere of influence amendment, and then finally an annexation. There is a cost associated with that. There's staff dedicated time on those actions. So the proposal that Director Kempenaar has put forward is
Is the letter.
let's make contact with the owners to see
Okay.
if that effort, if they're even interested. And I think in the letter, he laid out a lot of great benefits of being a resident or a business owner in Citrus Heights. So there's a letter. There would also be follow-up phone calls to engage in a meeting. If those discussions are positive, then there would be outreach with LAFCO and, of course, the county. There's also a property tax sharing agreement that would have to be negotiated with the county as well. So there's quite a bit of effort around an annexation, as you mentioned, but my recommendation is we would wait to move forward with
Okay,
an
what does an
EMSR until we
what does an
know where we're
MSR
at.
cost? What does that cost?
I haven't done one in years,
We've
been
never
over
had
20
one.
years
Our
since I
city's never
dealt with
had
one of
That's
those.
why it's,
so we would have to scope that out.
So I have a process question with regard to that, because you had the, and great staff report, good background. The only question I had is, you talked about a protest. If the protest is more than 25%, then it has to, if it's between 25 and 50%, it has to go for a vote. But if it doesn't, if the protest, we don't reach a 25% protest, does it have to go for a vote still?
If there's no protest, then there's no vote, and it would move forward to LAFCO that way. But when there's only 3 property owners, the math is a little funky.
I'd just be interested, if we're gonna send the letter, that's, to me, that's kind of preparation to know what the boundaries are. You know, if we start getting significant pushback from the property owners.
it's 3 property owners, right?
3 property owners, 5 parcels, yeah.
5 parcels, 3 property owners.
Okay. All right, well,
And
doesn't take much then.
the voters get to vote if there's a protest, and the protest happens if the property owners don't agree.
Right.
So,
Right.
way that works.
I think my direction is, I would like to move forward and,
Send the letter, yeah,
yes, send the
and
letter.
start out.
Does the council have a preference on which ad hoc committee would participate in that meeting?
Well, I'm on both of them, so I'm happy with that idea.
I think Finance Committee says more,
Well, and
Speak
your
more.
finance and your quality of life,
oh, okay.
you two work it out. They'll work it out, how's that?
Yeah.
We'll let you know. They'll still work it out.
Is the majority of the council okay with that as direction?
Is that good with you guys?
I actually have a preference for the finance committee to look at it.
Okay, then we'll do it to Finance Committee. She's nodding,
Fine with
okay.
me, yeah.
All right, Finance Committee, is that consensus?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, consensus,
So-
Finance Committee.
It sounds like the direction is send the letter, make contact, and it'll be the Finance Committee, a committee that staff works with.
Thank you.
I tell you, it'd be nice to have Fabians in our city.
Next item is department reports, and there are none. The next item is city manager items.
All right, well, welcome back, Madam Mayor, members of the council, to city council meeting after the summer recess, and we do have a number of updates here. As Councilmember Middleton mentioned, there's going to be a lot of kids out this Thursday as the San Juan Unified School District gets back to school. It's amazing how quick the summer can go. So please be on the lookout for increased pedestrian activity, increased bicycle activity, increased electric scooters, and all the other means that kids get to school. Our police department does a great job of coordinating with the schools in the program that's been put forward relative to traffic control at the high schools. And at Sylvan Middle School is proved to be really beneficial, so I'm sure that they've been working closely with the district administrators on that. But just be on the lookout. City Scoop was also talked about. Mesa Verde High School, August 20th, 6:30 to 8. Hopefully we have some of this, well, I don't even want to say it, hopefully this cooler weather we've been having most of the summer and not triple-digit heat, but either way, there'll be good ice cream ready to go and good company and lots of fun. So fantastic community event. Hopefully we see people there, which I'm sure we will. Also, this was talked about by a couple of our council members. All the great art that Citrus Heights Arts has been generating in the community. There's a Citrus Heights, it's a CH40 or Citrus Heights 40 art district launch that Citrus Heights Arts is sponsoring. So we have community leaders from the council that I know will be in attendance there. It's going to be a launch party. There'll be some speaking, but it's an all-day event, drop-in, 12 to 9. I believe the speaking points will probably be around 1 o'clock or so that day, but I'll get them all firmed up for the council. But it's certainly probably in the earlier part of the event, and it should be fantastic. I know Executive Director Gigi Rayford's got a friendly legion of really talented artists that have been putting up a lot of art out there. So this is a celebration they're putting out, and we as a city have been supportive of those efforts, but they've definitely been delivering through Citrus Heights Arts and, doing that really through a lot of different avenues on fundraising too. So, it's great to see that, beautifying our community. So you can see the flyer here. Wall raising event, another fantastic event. This one's tomorrow. Habitat for Humanity of Greater Sacramento has a wall raising event on Sayonara Drive, and that's tomorrow morning, 8 to 2. And that is going to be kicked off at 8 o'clock. I believe our mayor is going to have some comments at that event as well. And I believe several members of our council will be there. And I believe some of our council members may even participate in this wall raising. So definitely looking forward to it. And that's a project that we're seeing a ton of interest in. There's still opportunities to get on the list to see about getting a home out there. We will definitely have that information posted on our website. And I just want to make sure that I hit a couple of quick notes on that in case someone's interested watching. Phase 2 application period is still open through October 1st. So if you're watching this or you know somebody that may qualify for one of these homes and is a good candidate, ensure that they talk to our team. There's all kinds of information on our webpage about it. These are 3 and 4 bedroom homes, great family homes. And there'll be a second in-person orientation meeting held on August 15th here at the Citrus Heights Event Center. So you can find out more information about it on our website, or you can go directly to apply at www.habitatgreatersac.org. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you, City Manager Ash Feeney. I will say, I just couldn't bear going through another 10 minutes of my telling everything I did in the last, I did over 60 hours worth of work here. So it's, I just want to mention that I did go to the chamber luncheon where our city manager was our guest speaker, and he did a fantastic job comparing Citrus Heights to a garden that's growing. So matches our little theme of new growth and whatever, firm roots or whatever. So just wanted to thank you for the great presentation. You gave those new businesses that signed up for the chamber, there was a whole bunch of them, now get a feel for their belonging to our city, and you made them feel at home. It was good. It was very good.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Appreciate
And
it.
then I just also want to say that, okay, I went to the Historical Society presentation on the history of San Juan High School, which was incredible. And so the next one is going to be in October, and it's going to be the life of Ted Mitchell. So it'll be interesting, and they do them quarterly, and they have them right here in City Hall. And so, but I was looking up the website for the Citrus Heights Historical Society. And you know how when you go at Google and there'll be questions underneath Google? Little questions and answers. So one was, how much does the mayor of Citrus Heights earn? Get this. This is AI. This is ZipRecruiter. The annual salary for the mayor of Citrus Heights is approximately $69,754. This equates to a monthly pay of $5,812. The salary can range from $55,000 to $97,514. The hourly rate is roughly $34 an hour. And then they say that there's a lot of opportunity for advancement based on experience and skill. So anyways, I thought that was cool. If anybody's thinking to run for city council and they look to see how much does the mayor make, don't believe a word you read. So.
Yeah, not true.
AI's got some work to do on the accuracy on that.
Yeah, not true.
Well, they actually still, so then I put, how much does a council member make? And they still have the 600. So they haven't caught up with that one yet. So anyway, that's kind of, I thought that was interesting. Want to just remind people to use mosquito repellent. West Nile's picking up. And that's all I have. Does anybody else have anything for future agenda items?
I do.
Yes.
You do? You do? Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, well, you go first.
Thank you very much. I would love to discuss making the Arts District official,
I thought we did, didn't we?
whatever we need to do that.
The art district has been really being put together by Citrus Heights Arts, and so they've been making it happen out there and creating placemaking, if you will. So that's been more of a nonprofit that's been doing that. There's not a city-designated art district, but certainly the bones are there for consideration with all the hard work that's been done by Citrus Heights Arts and the muralist out there. So I think what Councilmember Nelson is asking for is potential consideration of an official designation by the city council of an arts district in the city. Is that the way I understand that?
Yes,
'Cause
thank
that
you.
has not happened.
Oh, I would love that. I think
Yeah,
that's great.
I'd third that,
I'd fourth that.
yeah.
We'll bring it back for deliberation and
I
consideration.
fourth it for bringing it back.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay, what's yours?
Okay, mine is, and I know we might ruffle some feathers here, but I really want to hear how our council feels about SB 802. I would really like us to officially decide where we are on this bill. And I know this bill has been pushed out to January, but I certainly would like to know, I know how the mayor feels about it, I certainly know how the city manager feels about it, but I don't know how the rest of my council feels about it, and I would like to know.
I think it's going to get modified after the October meeting, so I think it's what's it, when something's too early?
Okay,
Premature, that's it.
Premature. Maybe we could split the middle here and like do a study session, like, as right before a council meeting or something, just so like all of us and the community as well is aware of what this actually means and the impact, and we can kind of weigh it out there. And if it changes, then, we address the changes then, but at least we know, we kind of get an idea of where we all kind of sit, but we also know where we stand, where the bill is right now.
If I may, counsel, just for your consideration on raising this topic. Right now, our official, we have a letter of opposition for the language that was proposed. So that's on record. There was a lot of dialogue and discussion with the senator that proposed it about some potential amendments that would be considered to potentially change that position. And I know the mayor, is the leading voice of the council, was tasked with representing council voice on that, and I engaged on representation of protecting city interests. We haven't seen that final language yet. The bill has not been brought forward. I haven't seen any changes. There are a number of things that are going to be happening. Actually, at your next meeting in August, the county is going to come make a special presentation in the beginning about, depending their board adopting this new program. So there's going to be a discussion at the county, the next meeting. They're going to come make a presentation on a model that they're considering at the August meeting. There's going to be a meeting in October where all the mayors in the region and city managers are meeting. So I think there's going to be a lot of work around this. That SB 802 came up very rapidly, and we didn't have time to get it to the council, so that's why we did what we did. We used our existing pillars of local control, fiscal prudence, and public safety to engage in that. And so I'm hopeful that we don't have that same experience in the future, and there would be time to bring forward whatever the revised bill looks like from a language standpoint and have some discussion about it. But I agree with the mayor, there's a lot of things that are happening between now and then that will probably inform that discussion.
So
Okay.
The reason we opposed it is because they didn't come to the cities before, she didn't come to the cities, she just made this new rule. And it took our funding
know-
away from us and put it into,
What
we
I'm
don't-
trying to do here is.
no,
I-
I'll tell
I'm-
you where it's at. So
Well,
now
at this
she's
point, we could talk
involving the
about whether to
cities.
put it on, but.
Right, yeah,
it's
so
Too
the
deep
thing-
into it.
I'm just
thing about it
explaining
is-
what has happened, what role I played.
I'm interested in a study session.
Okay, that way we're all on the same page, because I feel like some folks just feel like we're not
I like
getting a
to,
full
I like to
picture.
wait until after, at least after we hear the county.
I'd third the study session
Yeah.
as well.
Well, the mayor and I will coordinate on the agenda on when it's ripe to bring back to the council for discussion.
All right.
Okay. Anybody else want to have a study session or anything else? Okay. Then we're going to adjourn back into closed session.